Yeah, so this is a fair use from the Act of 1976. Disclaimer, Section 107, under critical and teaching and scholarship and educational purposes, research. I am not making any money off this. This is fair use, fair use.
Kun, Brakatah Yahweh, Brakatah Yahweh Shai. All praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Kahaloyim, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preacher in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom, Shalom to the elect. To the Israelite foreigners, who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father, and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To sisters, you are who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. And I'm just going to call this lesson Organized Chaos, right? But that's what this is order out of chaos, right? At the end of the day, you know, these things seem random, but they're not random at all, right?
This is big breaking news. The National Guard has been deployed. Curfews are now being put in place as well too, so people cannot travel at nighttime. And evacuations are being ordered, brand new evacuations. So let's get into all the details here. We also sadly have a first responder that has passed away. So let's get into this. You guys can see this is the situation right now in Georgia, all right? This fire has reached over 7,000 acres and destroyed over 120 homes. It says here, growing Georgia wildfire has destroyed 120 homes, forcing new evacuations. All right, so that's total in Georgia. They believe that the Brantley fire alone has destroyed 87 homes itself and 120 total. You can see here Brantley County sets curfew and expands mandatory evacuations as firefighters continue to battle 7,000 acre wildfire. The Highway 82 wildfire has destroyed at least 87 homes. So they're not out of this. I first reported on this a couple nights ago when this fire first broke out. It was around 5,000 acres very quickly within 24 hours. And now around 48 hours later, it's still expanding to 7,000 acres. All right, so they're not out of it. New evacuations have been ordered in Brantley County. All right, you can see here it's forcing new evacuations here. And I want you guys to look on the map. All right, these fires have continued to grow. So we have the Brantley Highway 82 fire, which is in southern Georgia, and right near it, not far at all, the Pineland Road fire is now almost 32,000 acres. You can see these level 3 go now evacuation orders for the Brantley Highway fire have expanded. So we now have multiple regions that are evacuating. So if you're in this area, make sure you are watching these alerts closely in case you have to leave. All right, the Pineland Road fire has also ordered evacuations for residents living on or near.
There's someone who could owe you a 6 or 7 figure check after a car accident. If you were in a car accident,
look on the map. All right, these fires have continued to grow. So we have the Brantley Highway 82 fire, which is in southern Georgia, and right near it, not far at all, the Pineland Road fire is now almost 32,000 acres. You can see these level 3 go now evacuation orders for the Brantley Highway fire have expanded. So we now have multiple regions that are evacuating. So if you're in this area, make sure you are watching these alerts closely in case you have to leave. All right, the Pineland Road fire has also ordered evacuations for residents living on or near Will Ruiz and Chauncey Road. Okay, so this has...
Tell me this don't seem man-made. I'm saying this is not just coincidence, right? Allegedly, right?
Overwhelmed the first responders in this area, and the National Guard is being called in and deployed. You guys can see here, it says Governor Kemp says they are grateful for the readiness of the Georgia Guard in times of need. More Black Hawk helicopters are being deployed today to help Georgia trees and local authorities combat the wildfires as quickly as possible. All right, so he just announced this morning, April 24th, that more helicopters from the National Guard are being deployed to help fight these wildfires. All right, so they've issued a curfew from 8:30 p.m. to 6:30 a.m. All right, so if you're in Brantley County, they don't want you driving on the road. They're saying they have concerns about tractors possibly hitting someone that's on a mobile vehicle, or that we don't want anyone in the area that's not supposed to be there. All right, so they don't want any type of looting. They don't want people just going in there and taking a bunch of like pictures or videos or things like that. This is a live operation right now. You guys can see some of the pictures here coming out of Atkinson.
Pictures? They don't want anybody over there taking pictures or videos. Why? What are they hiding? What's really going on? Right? You know? Yeah, because, you know, we live in that information age. You know, the time, you know, your phone is a camera. You boom, flip it on, and now they're getting busted. They don't want you over there, you know what I mean?
Georgia and Brantley County. All right, law enforcement is redirecting people. We also have some pictures of the vehicles that are burned out from this fire. All right, this is a fire from yesterday in Atkinson, Georgia. Totally just destroying these cars. All right, there's only the frame left, totally burned out. Here's another picture from the Highway 82 fire as well. And here's another one. A utility pole is burning on top of a...
So, I want y'all to know that the fires are still happening. And there's been about 40 since the first one happened. I think even before that, there were fires happening. So, I need y'all to just keep talking about this. You're going throughout your daily life, you're acting like everything is normal, and people keep saying, when is the revolution going to happen? When is the revolution going to happen? When is the revolution going to happen? I feel like people misuse the term revolution, because when people say revolution, I know that you mean revolt. When is the revolt going to happen, right? We are actually entering the last stage of revolution, which is revolt. The revolution started about 25, 26 years ago, around 2000, or maybe like late 1990s is when the revolution really started. The first stage of revolution, just to be clear, is questioning the status quo, right? So when 9/11 happened and then people were like, I feel like the government did that, that's questioning the status quo. And then the 2008 housing market crash, that's when people started to find flaws in the status quo, right? You're like, there's obviously something wrong here, right? There's something that's not quite right with the system that we're currently in. And then we can talk about the other stages another time. What I'm trying to get to is that there is a new society that is going to be built. It's not going to be capitalistic, and you need to figure out right now what role you're going to play. Because if you continue doing this and this while the country is burning, you're going to end up in a system that you had no hand in, and you are not going to have a say about whether or not you fucking like it. So if you want to have a say in the new society, the new systems, economic systems, social systems that are about to be created, you need to figure out what part you're going to play now. Stop walking around and acting like everything is fucking normal. It's not. And a new society is going to be created because the old one is crumbling. And guess what? You think they're going to brutalize you? You think they're going to fight? Yeah, they are. The current government, they're going to fucking fight you, but they're not going to win. It's literally like mathematically fucking impossible for them to win. Oh, they've got guns, they've got artillery, they've got this, they've got that. For every police officer, 2 police officers, there is 1,000 civilians. Okay? The odds are not in their favor. There's other statistics that we can talk about all day, right? We can talk about how there are 550 million firearms owned by American civilians. American civilians. Not police, not the military, civilians. People like me and you. And there's only 330 million Americans. Not only does everyone get a gun, some of us get 2. And then you're going to bring up, oh, well, the Republicans own all the guns. That's not true either. And I'm telling you right now, taking out the MAGA, whatever, or the really, really far-right Republicans, there are regular Republicans, regular conservatives that are not about what's happening in the country. They'd probably also like to have a new system, right? Not everyone is as fucking crazy, or we agree on a lot more than what y'all realize. And regardless of what you want to believe, a new system is coming, and we need to make sure that it benefits every single one of us equally. And it's an actual system that does that, not one that brings up an illusion of choice and equality, like the current one that we are in right now that is crumbling. Pick the role you're going to play now and stop acting like everything is okay, because it's not. Otherwise, I don't want to hear you bitching when you live in the system that everyone else fucking created. I want y'all to know that the fires are still
are wanting to get out, wanting to go camping, wanting to go RVing. But there is a different group of people who are already somewhat camping out, already living in their cars, already living in RVs or mobile homes because they've been priced out of a home. When living becomes unlivable, what are people doing right now? So I'm going to show you a group of videos here. Some people living in RVs, some people living in mobile homes, some people living in their vehicles because they just cannot afford rent. The cost of living is skyrocketing and it's expected to get even worse. And now that people are forced to live in their cars, their RVs, wherever they can live with shelter, those things are now being ruled criminal offenses. Laws have been passed. I discussed this last year. Laws have been passed and they're coming into effect right now in different states, where some states have just banned RVs altogether. Others have laws where you cannot sleep in your vehicle. You cannot stay at this location. You cannot stay at that location. Where do they expect people to go? Like, they just want things to look like they're good, but people are really struggling out here to make ends meet. And when they're not meeting up, they're being, forward thinking and going, well, okay, well, I'll just stay here. I'll make the best of it, and work to try to save and get back in, which is difficult to do because you need to have all these requirements before you can even get an apartment. You have to be working at this place for such a long period of time. If you're a waitress, you got to have X amount of months showing your tips and wages and stuff that you can afford to even be in the apartment. And then you need to have at least 3 months. They make it harder and harder each and every turn that people come up with when they can't meet the system criteria and they're just trying to survive from day to day. So take a look at this video, hit the like button, share the video. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for supporting the channel. And I just wanted to share this little bit here. And it's not easy staying in your car because I did it on a camping trip. I did a car camping trip. And it's over on my other channel, Tommy Bites Life. Feel free to go and check that out. But it's not easy. Now, I did it because I wanted to, but now it's gotten to the point where people aren't just doing this because they just want to do it and have a new experience and be able to travel, and not have to pay for expensive hotels and things like that. People are doing it because it is a necessity for their survival.
Even celebrating this coming weekend. Like, seriously, what is there to celebrate? Freedom? From what? Most of us are chained to a job or a paycheck, or a bill that's already late. I mean, today's the 1st. Let's not forget rent just hit. Utilities are due. Your bank account's probably already sweating. Half the country's broke and depressed. The other half's pretending everything's fine. And everybody's either burnt out or beefing with each other on the internet. I mean, what's so united about this country in 2025? Out here in the Houston area, you can't even use a public bathroom without begging for a key like you're on probation. Because poverty's gotten so bad, they treat everyone like a suspect. Well, this isn't freedom. This is survival with rules and suspicion. We got billionaires flying to space while regular people can't even wash their hands without clearance. The rich are hoarding, the poor are surviving, the government's too busy feeding corporations to care about anybody else. People are working 60 hours a week just to barely afford the basics. And they'll still tell you to work harder. Meanwhile, you're about to go celebrate this country with fireworks and girl meat and stuff and spending money you don't have just to feel free for 24 hours. And then it's right back to the grind on Monday. Same stress, same paycheck, same damn trap. It's all a cycle. Spend, obey, distract, repeat. This isn't patriotism. It's just programmed loyalty to a system that doesn't serve you. Until we stop pretending, until we stop participating in this bullshit, nothing changes.
If you're new here, my name is Rainey. I'm in my 20s. I'm a single mom, and right now, I'm homeless, living out of a car with my 2-year-old son, Kai. It's not that easy to say out loud, but God told me to be obedient and honest during this season, even when it's painful. So here I am. My lease ended in June, and the apartments decided that they were not going to renew my lease because me and my mom were not seeing eye to eye, and she was my co-signer. So up until then, since mid-July, they had me on month-to-month up until I got evicted. And she was helping me. The only reason why she was helping me is because her name was on a lease as a co-signer. So if you don't know, my car broke down at the end of 2024. The engine went out, and after that, I rented a car from Turo, but it was way too expensive to maintain. By February, I lost my job, but I was able to get a more affordable rental car, and then I started doing DoorDash and just other little delivery apps and stuff, gig apps that I could do in the meantime. I had already been doing that work before, so I was just trying to make ends meet however I could.
It's breaking in America, folks, and it's not subtle anymore. Groceries are up 25% since 2020. Housing up 45%. Rent declared unaffordable in 98% of U.S. counties. People aren't downsizing. They're being priced out of existence. Right now, over 1.9 million Americans live in vehicles. That number has tripled since 2018, and it's climbing fast. Not because people want adventure, but because the system stopped working for them. Everyone feels it. The pressure. The squeeze.
I can say sometimes we feel the squeeze here as well. My husband is a trucker, and the loads sometimes don't pay a lot. And sitting around and waiting for decent loads, this is what truckers are doing. And in the meantime, they are struggling sometimes to make ends meet if they don't have anything saved up, if they've gone through their savings, which we did go through our savings when my husband had his heart attack last year, and trying to build that back up. And then there's always other things that come up. That being said, this is affecting a lot of people. We are blessed that we own our home, but at what cost do we want to keep that home? And these are serious conversations that people are having around their kitchen table or in their bedroom, just talking to each other. What are we going to do? How are we going to, maybe downsize and take that money to create that savings and live smaller lives in order to just survive or to feel comfortable and not feel strained or stressed?
The quiet collapse in slow motion. But here's the part they don't want to talk about. Nomad life is no longer an alternative lifestyle. It's becoming a survival strategy and a movement. Every single day, thousands more join the road. Not homeless, systemless, not lost, unplugged. If you feel like society is cracking, you're not alone. This is the transition era, and you are watching a new America being built on wheels.
Or freeze. If you live in the United States, and you live in a vehicle, these are our new laws. Me doing van life is illegal. There are some areas of this country where we can't even park our vans and sleep in them on our own property. Sleeping in a van is slowly becoming illegal in so many states. There's a lot of campgrounds that won't let you do van life. That's why you see most van lifers will go out west, because there's all the BML land where you can go. Oh, to jail for sleeping in your van or your vehicle? That's just insane.
In your car or RV, after months of debate, Oakland has passed a controversial measure allowing the city to clear vehicles from public spaces even when no alternative housing is available.
Oakland is changing how it handles people living in RVs and cars. A new policy approved Tuesday gives the city authority to remove those vehicles even when alternate shelter isn't available. Officials say they're still required to make reasonable effort to offer housing. The new policy also allows the city to be able to shut down encampments with little notice during emergencies.
I kind of wanted to talk about, do you realize there's over 500,000 people that live in a camper, just like I do in this country? And probably, truth be told, that number's twice that high, if not 3 times that high. Because some states are pushing back on this type of lifestyle. They don't want you coming out here, getting you a piece of land, parking your little camper on it, and bucking the system. They don't want you unplugging from the harvesting extraction machine of renting a lot, paying lot rent, paying electric bill, paying your, all these other associated costs of living in a park that is most likely being operated by, an investment firm. I mean, the days where mom and pops had little campgrounds and trailer parks for campers, well, them are rapidly being bought up by private equity. And of course, they're lobbying states to push back against our lifestyle, the ability to do it on your own land. As people are getting priced out of paying for apartments, $1,200 a month apartments, you realize how many senior citizens are doing exactly what I'm doing right now? Take a wild guess. 250,000 of them are senior citizens. Think about that. People who can't afford rent, can't afford a mortgage anymore because the housing market's just insane. How many people can sit around here with a $1,500 a month Social Security retirement check and think you're going to go pay $1,200 a month in rent?
So I'm one of the many Americans.
Yeah, so this is Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 3. It says, in the day when the keepers of the house, who's the keeper of the house? The elite. They're the unjust stewards. They're the keeper of the house. Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. They're the keepers of the house. Right? When you go into the word steward meaning to be like it's like a landlord, right? And they're the keeper of the house, and they're not dividing the spoils of the world equally, because they want it to be where the rich are the only ones who have, and it's only going to be the rich and the have-nots, right? But they're trembling because what? It's the time they know that they have but a short time. The Lord is about to take their stewardship, so they're trembling. They're afraid. So they're doing what it takes, or what they think it's going to take to keep it. And the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinding cease, because they are few, and these and those that look out the windows be darkened, right? Because you have the college students spending all that time, spent the 12 years plus years in college to look out the window of the future, and there is no future, right? You know, the grinding meaning jobs are going to be few in number. There's still some, and you know, but you definitely don't need these fake, which, like I said, I believe they're paid, crisis actors to burn down the factories and, you know, this and that. Now, there are, people who legitimately have a reason to be upset because they're outsourcing you. AI, this and that, outpricing you. You have a legit, but right now, though there are few jobs, at least there are some. When you burn it all out, now you're really even making less, right? You know, you're not helping the situation, right? Because bills still need to be paid as of this moment until it's not, until the stock market crash, which, I mean, I guess that's inevitable too. That's going to come because what it says, and the doors shall be shut in the streets, right? The stock market's going to crash. The doors you're going to have no more bail for the stock market. Bing, bing, bing. Stock market opening, the bell bringing for it to close. No more stock market, right? They're going to bring in the MOTB, the mark of the beast, which is the micro C-HIP, right? And this is by way of how they feel they can save their society. When the sound of grinding is low, right? So they figure if they take out your jobs, they give it to AI, it'll force you. They have a way to corner the market, to force you, to cause of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive that mark, right? Right? And he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, right? So when you wake up in the morning, you go to the job, the birds are tweaking and you go into work. You know, you hear the rooster crowing or whatever. Back in the day, I used to hear the rooster when I was younger. I used to live with my grandmother. You hear the rooster and you hear the birds and things like that, and you're going to work. You know what I mean? Though life seemed bad, when you heard the tweaking of the birds and you're headed to work, it kind of made you feel good. You know, like, dang, the birds are, all right, you know what? I'm going to have a good day. And you go out there and then you go to work and you smile, even though things ain't all that great either, you know. But you smile and you do the thing. But now that it's what? And it says when the sound of the grinding is low, now you're really miserable. Now people are fighting for those jobs. You know what I mean? And now people are miserable. Now the love of many is waxing what? Cold, right? At the voice of the bird and the daughters rising, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and all the daughters of music shall be brought low, right? And they basically, even in the world, they have a saying, when the music stops, it's all over, right? When the fat lady stops singing, that's it. There's no more music, right? This place is done. Yeah. So this is Isaiah chapter 47 and verse 2 says take heavy millstones, right? In NLT, take heavy millstone and grind flour, right? Make your daily bread. You got to go to work. You got to make your daily bread. But what's going to have? Remove the veil, right? See, basically what's happening is the economy can't sustain itself, right? And especially since they're jamming it up, really, right? Because the dollar is so strong, they have to do something to basically, jam it up, because they had the thing, the de-dollarization, and they gave you China's doing de-dollarization and Russia is doing, but the dollar is so strong that this whole thing with the Strait of Hormuz is a way to collapse it. Because it's not just the American dollar that's collapsing, and it's organized. Like I said, it's organized chaos. They're demolishing the dollar, right? That's why even the movie was called Demolition Man. That's what that was all about. They demolitioned the money to bring in that new system where they had the electric cars and they had the AI, where the AI was basically giving out tickets. You know, the guy did a cuss word and it issued him a citation for cursing. You run a red light, the AI sends you a ticket in the mail for running a red light. Where AI is controlling everything, right? And that's ultimately what this is, what they're doing. They're showing you the demolition of the system, right? And it's revealing, right? The what do you call it? The vulnerability of you Americans. A lot of people are only one paycheck away from anyway, but you still walked around in pride. You still stepped over the homeless person. You still had enough energy into you to say the N word or say beaner or say whatever you want, because basically there's hatred in your heart, right? We know that you low level Edomites are still Edomites at the end of the day. You're about to be lower level all over again, and now you're gonna be looking like, well, we're the same and we're at the bottom. Like, no, we're not the same. But the Lord's going to cause out a judgment against you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians as well. Because you're going to be working for your daily bread, your flour, your grind, but it's going to be being removed. Slowly and surely be removed your veil, right? It's like, veil is for your face. You know how they tell you about how people wear a mask, and that's what's happening. Esau's removing that mask. He's going to show you that he's the devil, right? And strip off her robe, right? So they're going to take your clothes, your garments. You're going to take your way of living from you, right? And expose her, and expose yourself to public view, right? So you're going to be brought into that third world vulnerability, as every other country in the world, as a third world country, right? But that's for you who don't jump in and take the mark of the beast. You're not cooperating in the 15-minute cities. You're not here to be a part of being owned by the elites. They want you to perish, die of starvation. They don't give a damn, right? You either be their goyim or nothing, right? I'm gonna try to hurry up and finish this. I'm going too long. Or is this Salakia? Yeah, grind. Grind to crush. Yeah, and that's nothing. They're gonna crush you. But grind to employment. See, they're gonna take away your employment, right? Because right before it tell you about the employment, it says concubine. And what is a concubine? A concubine is a second-class citizen. Really like a third-class citizen, because technically a woman is a second-class citizen, right? So what's a concubine? Like a third-class citizen. It's not, you're not really nothing, you know? A concubine that brings their employment, right? You know? And that's pretty much what every citizen in their mind is. You're like a second-class, a lower-class citizen. You're basically nothing to them, right? So they don't care about removing your ability to be able to have a job, to be able to get your daily bread, to grind and get the flour. Flour's for bread, right? There's a lot of things you could do with flour, right? You can make bread, you can make cakes, right? You know, you can make a pot pie. You know, it's a lot of things you could do with the flour, right? So this is Isaiah chapter 3, verse 14. Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, will enter into judgment, right, with the ancient of his people. So right now, this at this time was speaking about the Israelites. But we served our punishment, right? We served double for our punishment, and we drunk out the dregs. So at this point, this says the curses that went upon us are going to go upon our enemies. So this is what's going to happen to Esau, right? As we're keeping the law, statutes, commandments, which the elect will be saved, right? The Lord's not waiting for all of Israel to get it together. He's gonna deliver a remnant of his people, because they should not all together go unpunished. He's gonna save a remnant, right? But now this curse, right? You want to be the Israel? You want to be the Israelites? Hey, now, hey, the curses of the Israelites are going to come upon you. You'll never be the Israelites, but hey, the curses that were upon us are going to come upon you, right? It says, and the princes, right? Because you're the one who rule in the world. You're the unjust steward, right? Job 9:24, right? The keepers of the house, they're trembling. You're trembling. You're the princess, right? You're the prince of the air, right? You're the prince of the world, right? I think the scriptures talk about how you're the prince of the world and also the prince of the air, which is talking about Esau, Edom, right? And it says, and the princes thereof, for ye have eaten up the vineyards, the spoil of the poor is in your house. See, they robbed, and that's what's happening right now. There's a wealth transfer. So they're basically wiping out the middle class, and even stealing the money from the poor, right? That's why they're making it illegal to be homeless. Yeah, you know, because that doesn't make sense. Even Yahushua said, the poor will be with you always. So how can you not have any homeless, right? You're making it illegal because you want to be able to reap every benefit. There ain't going to be a way that you can get paid under the table, or someone can say, well, I gave it to a homeless person, and writing it on their taxes, right? You can say I donated to the church, right? So I need to get this so-called write-off so I can get some money back. No, they want you at a low status. So that way all the spoils of the poor are in your houses, right? So it could be in their houses, in the elites, the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergs, the DuPonts, the Gettys. Now this was speaking of Israel at that time, but now this is basically speaking of these devils this in this hour. So I'm qualifying it. I mean, not take it from that. This is actually talking about Israel, but we know that now you not our princess, but you are the prince. You're the prince of the air. You're the prince of the world. You're ruling. Job 9:24. You're ruling, right? It says, "What mean ye that ye beat my people?" Right? See, now you talk. Hey, now you get into the nitty gritty, because what, we're still in the ghettos, the vadios, the reservations, right? And they're the ones who's ruling. What mean ye that ye beat my people to pieces and grind the face of the poor, saith Yahweh of hosts, right? What it mean by this? Because you don't give a damn, right? Yeah. So this is Malachi chapter 2, verse 1 says, woe, which means judgment, right? Weeping and gnashing of teeth to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds, right? Because a bed is for rest. You're at your rest. You're in your rulership, right? You're advising different iniquities. You're writing different laws, statutes, and things. You're putting it into AI and using AI to wipe people out of jobs. You know that they won't be able to sustain themselves, and you don't care if they're not down with getting the digital all. You're not with them at all, right? You got the mind as you either for us against us, right? And through this causing, right? You're saying, hey, what is this? What is the saying? It's better if you can't beat them, join them, right? Because a lot of people are going to be homeless, starving, hungry. So, hey, you're going to cause a vulnerability, right? To see, and that really tests what do you call it? Because people like to say they got integrity, but that's the ultimate test of integrity. That's the ultimate test of time. That's what the Lord said is going to be the hour of temptation, right? And that's ultimately what we're entering into. See, and you work evil upon your beds and your rulership when the morning is light, right? That means your rulership, the Illuminati, goes into you being the enlightened ones, the Illuminati. Even they said it in Britain, because really, Britain actually runs America, right? When you go into their law, going into the law, because that's who runs the law. I care not who makes the laws, but as long as I control the currency and things like that, which law ultimately still controls the currency. You pass laws to do this, to do that, say this, that's homeless. You can't be homeless. You can't do that. You can't do that. You can't travel, which that's what's gonna happen, right? And if you don't fall under the Novus Ordo Seclorum through your devising of iniquity, right? Because we know that's sin, right? You know, but you don't care, you know. So they practice it, right? And you putting it in order, and you're practicing it, right? Practice it means to put it into play. So this is part of the playbook. To practice it because it is in the power of their hands, right? And that's why I'm saying there, which is being what the elites, the Bilderbergs, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, right? The Bagoshes, right? Those do these families, you know, like I said, you got those other families, you know, the Rockefellers, the Clintons, you know, now the Obamas, right? These are all these families that's all interconnected with you, with part bringing in that Novus Ordo Seclorum, right? And then we're at the time where you don't give a damn because you got to leave people vulnerable. So it says, and they covet fields and take them by violence. So hey, look, let me start a fire here, right? Because they had those fires in Georgia. Start a fire here. Start a fire. Let's not forget about Hawaii. Let's not forget about what happened to LA, right? You know, and now all of a sudden there's these 15-minute cities popping up everywhere, and it's not just here. Like I said, I did a lesson, and they got 15-minute cities in Russia. They got 15-minute cities in China. They have 15-minute cities in Japan already. So this is a worldwide event. So we know that this is all because of the elite who actually runs the world, right? They pretend like they don't run the world, but they do, right? And take them by violence and houses, right? And that's still a violent way to take it, you know, to just outsource somebody, you know what I mean? And make it, because may not be coming in with billy clubs or guns to force the people out, but that's a violent way to do it, to just all of a sudden there ain't no jobs. But it ain't because there ain't no jobs, it's because you created the system and set it up to where there's no jobs. But you're making it seem like it's all a coincidence, and the time, and you know, it's just technology. It's moving just so fast, and it's just outsourcing the people, and you know what I'm saying? We can't help it. I mean, if you get outsourced, I mean, what can we do? I guess you're just gonna have to starve. Oh, you don't want the micro C hip? Well, yeah, you're gonna have to go over there and starve and die and this and that. Yeah, we got 17,000 trillions, but yeah, you know, we can't help you, right? You know. Oh, you want to be our slaves? Oh, well, come on over here. Get this micro C hip, get this digital all, and be my slave forever. And I'm good with that, right? When you already run the whole world, but the whole thing is, it's never when you like they say, what do you get a person that has everything? At this point, the souls of men. You have to get the souls of men, right? There's no other way, because people are going to have to basically do what you did. What your daddy Esau did, Edom did, Esau, right? Because you're the Edomites, but Esau, your father, he gave up his birthright for a morsel of meal. That's what a lot of people are gonna do. They're gonna give up their birthright or their chance to make it into the kingdom of heaven for a meal, and probably not a very good one at that. Right? It's gonna be plastics, right? Forever plastics in it. You know what I mean? Stuff they can't even digest, not even gonna come out in their excrement the right way, right? And take them away, so they oppress, right? And this is oppression. Oppress a man in his house, right? Even a man in his heritage, right? You're like this proud American, like the whole American. That's what they do was you know, he's mentioning. You know, there's no American dream anymore. There's no American hope. What are you going to do? You're going to pop a couple of fireworks and feel free in your mind. You're thinking, yeah, this is what America's all about. I can fire fireworks. I can shoot my gun in the air. But at the end of the day, you got to go back to work. You got to be a slave. And ultimately, one day you're going to wake up and there's no job. Then they're taking away your house. They're taking away your car. And they go, guess what? It's illegal for you to be homeless out here with nothing. Though I took everything away from you. Right? And so they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. Yeah, so you have these people with like that chick was saying, people are rising up and they want to fight back against the oligarchs, and they're going to fight against them. So it said, for there shall be in every place and in the next city a great insurrection upon those that fear Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So you got these insurrections, you got all these different people fighting, but ultimately this is really going to be against the men of the Lord, because they're going to, this is what this whole thing is about. Trying to shut down the word, because the word is eating them. It's because now they got to find a scapegoat. Like they're trying to find a way to say that the Democrat Party is against the small hats, right? They're trying to say the Democrat Party is against the U-ish, but it was actually the Republican Party people like the C. Kirk who actually started mentioning it. About the small hats. What's his name? God dang it, the dude from Fresh and Fit, which I believe he's a Republican too, right? But now they're trying to throw it off on the Democrats. So you have to look for a thing. So they'll look for something so they can have a boogeyman, right? So they can say you can't speak up, which they're already doing that anyway, right? They're passing laws in every state saying you can't speak out against the small hats, right? And but it's not going to change what's happening. And they shall be like madmen, sparing none. See, this is what it is. They know that they have but a short time, so they're looking at, wait, what can we do? Esau's gonna revert back to being his caveman way. He don't know nothing else but to get violent, right? They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but spoiling, right? Taking, which means to rob, and destroying those who fear Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And that's ultimately what it's about, to come against the men of the Lord, the men and ultimately the men, but they, be some of your women and your children, right? Because they don't care. They don't care about the old or the young, right? They don't spare the old or the young, right? For they shall waste and take away their goods, right? Your ability to eat, have a job. That's what they're doing, right? And cast them out of their houses. Come on now. Is that not what they're doing? It says, then shall they be known, right? Which the elect, who are my chosen. See, that's what they don't understand. All this is going to bring about the chosen anyway, right? And they shall be tried as gold in the fire. So this is all set up so we can go through our adversities, so we could prove that we are the children and the sons of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. So we need you to attack us, because how can we be saved unless we need someone to be saved from? Unless we need something to be saved from. You can't be saved unless you have someone to be saved from. Then that's salvation. So really, you're setting up our salvation, right? Yeah, I seen something here. I want to go back here to this Malachi. Malachi chapter 2, verse 3 says, therefore, thus saith Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention, against this family, right, which is the Rothschild, the Bilderberg, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Oppenheimer, ultimately the Edomites. This family, which are the Edomites, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, do I devise in evil, which means he's going to do a bad time, evil time. He's going to destroy you, right? Judgment's going forth from the Most High, from which ye shall not remove your neck. So ultimately, you're going to go into slavery, and you're not going to be able to remove your neck from Yahushai taking over the world. The world belongs to Yahushai, and he's coming to take what belongs to him, period. You're not going to be able to stop it because you're pushing forth the microseed, because you're burning some buildings and some houses and some land, some forest, and you're outsourcing jobs, and you're taking people away from there. That's not going to stop Yahweh Bashem Yahushai from giving his world to his son, who he created for. Not to mention, was it Second Ezra, I believe it's 6. It says that the Lord made the world for our sake. Ezra said, whose sake? They're talking about the Israelites. So the Lord made the world for the Israelites. So you think that you're gonna get it? The Lord said, I should not leave it to other people, right? So you're not gonna get it. no matter what you do. So you're not going to be able to remove, ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, right? Hey, Habakkuk talk about how his spirit's not right up in him. He's a prideful man. That's that haughtiness, right? That pride. For this time is evil, not good for you. So while you're pushing forth this micro C hit, doing all these different things, trying to push your agenda, the Novus Ordo Seclorum, hey, it's not going to be well for you, bro. It's not going well for you. And in that day shall one take up a parable against you and lament with doleful lamentations, woo, and say, but we utterly spoiled and have changed the portion, but he hath also, but it's like he hath changed, like talking about you, Esau, have changed the portion of my people. How hath he removed it from me and turned him away? Yeah, and turning away, he have divided our fields, right? Taking the land, the fields, the buildings, the ability to be able to live where we're supposed to live. You took our spoils. Our spoils and our things are going to be found in your house. As a matter of fact, we're going to be found in your house. The Lord said, if a man take of a man and stealeth him or selleth him, and he be found in his hand, you should surely be put to death. And that's what's going to happen to you. We're going to be, all our spoils, and us as itself shall be a spoil. Hey, and it's going to be found in your hands, and you're going to be destroyed, man. And then ultimately, you're going to be coming against the elect, and the Lord's going to have to destroy you, right? So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash. Like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To your sisters, you akhwatim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. You want to say Abba Ball, Kwame Sharala. All praise to Yahweh Shai.